broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Houston, Texas. It's time for Houston Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Trisha Stetzel here, bringing you another episode of Houston Business Radio. Today, I have an amazing human being with me that I met many years ago through BNI, Business Network International. If you're not familiar, you might want to take a look because it does create long-lasting relationships. I'd love to introduce you to Sylvia McNiel, also known as Super Sensational Sylvia. She's a top Mary Kay consultant in San Antonio and Houston. Now she's built a beautiful team and she's driven by passion, helping people. That has fueled her 29-year career in beauty and wellness. She brings honesty, integrity, and hard work to each consultation, always mixed with a splash of fun. Sylvia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Trisha. What a huge intro to live up to. It's thank you. I appreciate that. But I guess I created it myself, calling myself Super Sensational Sylvia. And a lot of times my husband will, when I'm not super sensational, he will tell me that you're not being very sensational right now. And I'm like,
Well, we're just going to call you Triple S today. All right, Triple S. Well, and we do have, I asked you to come on the show because you have such a beautiful story to tell that I think people need to hear. But before we get there, I have a few questions for you. So the first question I want to put out there is, I know that you've built a really strong reputation in Mary Kay, and it has been 29 years. It's a long time to be in this business. So tell me, what initially inspired you to get into the beauty industry, and how has that motivation evolved over the last 29 years?
So I started my business 29 years ago when I have 3 children, and they were all under the age of 5. My husband had just graduated from A&P school. He had an associate's degree in mechanical. He's a mechanical guy. Okay, and he picked up a Reader's Digest book and was reading it, and there was an article about Mary Kay. And my mother has sold Mary Kay. She was selling Mary Kay at the time, and he would watch her leave, like around Christmas. He'd leave in the morning and she'd come back with cash. And then she'd leave again in the morning with some more baskets and come home with cash. And he was putting it all together. And he said, I really think you need to look into this business. I think it'd be great for you. At the time, we had chosen to remain a single income family. And so I wasn't getting out of the house very often. My wardrobe was a mom wardrobe: sweatpants, t-shirts, ponytail, hairstyle. I did not wear makeup, and so I opened my mind to it. In the beginning, I was like, I don't want to do what my mom does. We all go through that, and so I was like, okay, I'll listen. And when I went to the home of my mom's director, this beautiful woman, and she just glided along and just dripping in diamonds, had a pink Cadillac, beautiful house. And I thought, what is going on here? Because everybody in that room was gorgeous. Everybody had beautiful skin. Everybody was just happy. Everybody was happy. And, it was just a different environment. And so when I heard about the opportunity, what really grabbed my attention was the fact that Mary Kay, the values, God first, family second, and career third. And the idea that you build your business with the golden rule in mind, and you're always thinking of others, not yourself. And so it was a very servant type of business. And then when I read Mary Kay's autobiography, I realized she didn't create the company to have awesome cosmetics and skincare. She built the company for women. And so I didn't finish college. So my self-esteem was really below sea level. And so I was really trying to determine, do I go back to school? Do I, what am I going to do? I can't go back to school till the kids are older. And this was an opportunity for anyone with a college degree, without a college degree, with a high school diploma. All you needed was your desire to reach a goal that was given to you in your heart. And so I was just like amazed, and I thought, what? And then I heard everybody's stories, and I thought I could do this. I could learn this. I'm not dumb. Um, I could read a book and follow things. And back then, everything's digital. Back then we had cassettes and we had videos, tapes. We we had
Had to write everything
we had
down.
to write everything down and use a calculator. It was so, caveman style, but I did. And so, I learned the business, but, I signed my agreement and 2 weeks later we moved away to a town where I had no support. I didn't have my family. I didn't know anybody. All I had were the Mary Kay ladies there. And so they helped me, learn the business. And I learned fairly quickly, because I always tell myself, you are a smart woman. I learned fairly quickly that you hang around the women that have $1,000 sale every week.
Mm-hmm.
You hang around the people that are growing, that are moving. They're having parties. They're having, so that's what I did. I just asked if I could be their assistant, and they were so happy. And I was like, okay. And so that's, and in the 29 years, I will say it hasn't all been, it's been it was a struggle for the first probably 4 years, because we moved. We moved every like 2 or 3 years. We had to move because of my husband's job. So I had to start all over every time we moved. But every time I got better. I got better. Every move, I got better. And and by the time we reached Indianapolis, my husband was working for United Airlines at the time. They built a hub there. And I'm a Midwest girl. I was born in Michigan. So I was like, yay, let's go to the Midwest. So by the time I got there, I had it down. I knew who my market was. I knew who I needed to be around. I knew how to, make friends right away. By then the kids were teenagers, and that's when I won my first Mary Kay car. And I built a team. Back then you had to have 30 or 35 people on your team to be a unit. I had like 26. I had 24. I had a really, really, really strong business. And then life happens. And the best thing about this business is you can pull back whenever you need to. And you don't have to get out. Mary Kay doesn't kick you out. You're an independent contractor. You own your own business. So life hit us, and there were some challenges with my girls. And in that kind of fog, I was young, and I began to listen to outside people. And they started saying things like, well, maybe you should start getting a real job. Maybe you should look at going back to school. So, and I listened, and I thought, okay, I got a real job. And I went into the insurance industry for about 10 years. And it was the worst mistake of my life, but it taught me many, many, many lessons. And I realized I had a real job. But, I pulled back and I stayed in Mary Kay and I still went to meetings, and my business kept me in business
Mhm.
for 10 years because I wasn't doing any work that, we call income producing activities for us. I wasn't doing parties or facials and recruiting and keeping a team, and I wasn't doing all that. But I still had a lot of people ordering from me. And I think a lot of that had to do with me because they trusted me and they trusted my advice. They knew I knew every single product that I had on my shelf. And so, at that time, we moved from there to San Antonio, and, Mary Kay that was the year Mary Kay introduced websites for all the
Mhm.
consultants. So, I just taught all my customers how to order off the website. I'm like, "This is easy."
Technology.
Yeah. And that was back in 2011, 2012, and I stayed, in the commercial insurance industry for a while and, did that. Got the kids through, high school and college and, um, all their dramas and everything going on. And then we moved to San Antonio, which we knew we would do after the kids graduated because that's where our family that's everybody was there. And our family, everybody was aging, and we knew we were gonna come back. Yeah, and so we lived in San Antonio for probably 6 years,
Yeah.
and then my husband got transferred to Houston, and and that's when I moved to Houston, and I was like, "Okay, this is the last move that I would like to do." And at that time, I left my job. My job was getting very stressful. It was, my husband knew I was unhappy for a long time. And although I was making a good income and we were very, very, very comfortable, he said, you need to stop. This is not you. This is not who you are. You need to find something you would love to do. And I was at a networking event for the commercial for as a commercial insurance person, and I was getting ready to tell them that I was leaving my job. It was right around Thanksgiving too. And I remember the president of that group standing up and saying, "We're going to have a membership drive next Thursday. Everybody invite somebody within, your contact sphere, la la la. And by the way, does anybody know Mary Kay lady?" And I was just like,
It's a sign.
I was like, "What are you doing to me?" So I fought it. I fought it for a couple of months. I was like, "I'm not doing that anymore. No, I'm not doing it." Finally, I told her, I said, "Look, I'm leaving my job, but I'll be your Mary Kay lady." I thought, well, why not? I don't have another job to go to. And man, as soon as I said yes, all the doors opened up. Everybody needed a facial. I had probably close to 200 customers within a year,
Wow.
just skincare, just in skincare customers. And I was back on target for a car, and I was like, "What in the heck?" And then we moved to Houston. And so I've been through a life of like really, challenges all the time. And I think it set me up for what ended up happening,
Yeah.
And, so that's my story. And I landed in Houston. I kept my team in San Antonio. I still go back. I'm building a team here of professional women who want a business and who are teachable and trainable like I was because I
Yeah.
didn't know anything. And and that's where we are today. And
That's
now I'm in this position today.
Yeah. And, so many of us do the job and try and be an entrepreneur. And it's so hard to find that balance. And it's what a beautiful story that you're able to hold on to that entrepreneurial spirit, although suppressed for a few years while you had the job, right? Or the 9 to 5. But you were able to pull that back out. And what an amazing business model for you to be able to do that as a working mom, right? And getting through that and being able to come back to it. And I know that honesty and integrity are such a core part of who you are, and that comes out in the story that you've told. And you've also mentioned that you love to have fun. And that was even in your bio that I read. So, fun and business in this business that you're in, how do you balance the professionalism of being a skincare consultant with also a sense of fun when you go in and work with your clients?
If it's not fun, if it, and I heard this lyric from Pitbull, by the way, and he said, if they're not laughing, you're not making money. And I thought, he's absolutely right, because you know, women are just so stressed out and they are so busy. And for them, for first of all, for somebody to host a party, it's a lot of work, especially if you have kids and you have a big family, and it's a lot of work. But I do make it worth their while, and I always tell them, I help them. I'm your partner. I'm going to help you. Um, so to get you get women coming, and they're just there to help their sister or their sister-in-law, and they come like this,
Mm, cross arms. Yep. Completely.
and they sit back, and they tell me right up front, you're not taking anything off my face. And I said, "Oh, you're absolutely right. I'm not." And I just leave them alone. I'm just like, mm-mm. And but I make it so fun. I'm never mean, and I'm never I'll tell them, "Oh, okay, yeah, I understand. No problem, no problem. You know what? But here's what I do. Here's a secret. I can't tell anybody else. I say, here's a pen and paper, and you're gonna sit over here, because all of us are we're gonna take our makeup off and we're gonna put it back on. But since you don't want it, you can take notes, because I'm gonna give you some secrets that you probably haven't even heard before." And they're like, "Okay," in the beginning. About halfway through that party, they're like, "Okay, okay, all right, I'll do it."
Give me one of those. I want to do that too.
And you know what ends up happening? A lot of them buy everything, or they join me. They join my team.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're like, "I wanna join I wanna know more about what you do." And so, you gotta make it fun for people, even a facial, the transformation. I talk about the transformation of a woman in a facial setting, because a woman who has a facial, she wants that for her. That's her thing. Okay? She doesn't wanna share it, with anybody yet. She wants to experience it. And the transformation you see from a woman who doesn't wear any makeup and is learning how to take care of her skin. And then at the end of the appointment, they look at their face and they're just like, you can't take the mirror away from them. They're transformed, and they realize how beautiful they are.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that is, it's like, that's the payday. I mean, for me, because that woman sees herself in a different light. And all of a sudden now, the relationship between that woman and it's a friendship, because I took the time to make sure she uses everything correctly, talk about her skin, understand what her concerns are. I never try to push anything. And then I come back and I teach her how to make herself look cute, and then she gets all excited. I mean, I just did an appointment Tuesday, and it was just unbelievable, the transformation. And I told her, this is my motto now. I am here to serve women,
Mhm.
just like Mary Kay. built this company for women. I am here to serve women and to show them they can be professional business women, speak professional business lingo, just like a professional who got their MBA, because our training is so top notch. It's just incredible the training we get. And you can still have fun. You can still be the band mom. You can
Yeah.
still be the karate mom and the Comic-Con mom who took the kids all over Indiana, because nobody else wanted to. And, you can still do all of those things.
Mhm.
Nothing in my life was ever, a question. There was nothing there was nothing that made my business go south that I didn't do intentionally or did unintentionally and didn't know I was doing it. It was not the kids. And when I asked my kids who are adults now, when I asked my son one time, when I won the car and I won that car, do you remember that? And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Did you ever feel like I was never around?" He goes, "Mom, I didn't even know you had a job." Like, he goes, "You were here in the morning when I left, and you were here after school, and you were only gone a couple hours on the weekend. I never knew you had a job." And so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna record you one day, and you're gonna have to give me that testimony."
Mama of the Year award. Mama of the Year award. Yes.
But, you really can have it all and really create a business around your life,
Yeah.
not let the business run your life.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and so I learned a lot of that, um, mainly this year.
Yeah.
Mainly,
So
you
let's talk about that because
everything came
yeah,
to
here's the
fruition.
story. So as we are rounding out our conversation today, I really want to tackle this because I think it's so important for people to hear. Sylvia, you were in line for a diamond ring this year,
I was
right?
Yeah, I was in line, this year to win my first Mary Kay diamond ring. I had set the goal last year, I was ready. I was working to, and I was on target to earn a car. And so, we were working, and on April 8th of this year, which is the day of the eclipse, my husband has had a motorcycle for 7 years, and, we went on a motorcycle ride, which is what we do a lot of times. We go with a group, and we always ride with a large group. And, we decided to go to Bandera. I knew where we were going, and I knew that that was not a very safe area, for motorcycles. And I told my husband, if it rains, because it was supposed to rain that day,
Mhm.
um, I did not want I was gonna drive and meet everybody at the restaurant. Well, it was sunny that morning,
Mm.
and the sun came out, and everything was dry in Kerrville. We were in Kerrville, and so we went on our ride. And I remember I was thinking about this morning, Trisha. I remember that morning when I woke up, I always have my cross. I'm a very faithful woman, and, I didn't have my cross on, and so I didn't have so I just woke up early, walked around the bike, and I just prayed over it. I just prayed. I prayed on the seat. I prayed on the handlebars, the tires, everything. I just prayed. And, there was a guy that was walking out of the hotel, and I said, "Hey, have a good day." And he goes, "You too, and you be sure you come back." And I was
Mhm.
like, I go, "I will." I said, "Of course." And so we got on the bike and we took off. Well, we're winding around those hill country roads, and it's zigzag. And on that last turn, we were almost to the restaurant, and, my husband took the turn, and it was just a little bit too wide, and at 30 miles an hour, he hit the edge of the road, the gravel, and it took the bike one way, and it took through us another way. The direction that I went, or that my husband and I went, was the direction of the edge of a hill.
Mm,
So
goodness.
my husband I sat a little higher than him. So he immediately was thrown into a bush. But I went through two trees and I hit the third. And the third tree is what saved me from going
Wow.
to the edge because there was nothing else left. And I didn't know that. So anyway, so I'm in the tree. I never passed out, by the way. And I literally was hanging in the tree from my waist, and I had my helmet on. I had full armor, gloves, everything, jacket, full helmet. And I could hear my husband calling me. So I couldn't breathe. I had knocked the wind out of myself. And then I pushed myself, I was trying to push myself out, and I could hear my husband say, "Don't move." And I was trying to look, but I couldn't see from the helmet. And I said, "Why? What is it?" And I said, "I think I can get out." And he's like, "Don't look, don't turn around. If you want to stand up, you can stand up, but come around." And so I came up to the top of the road, and I did not know there was nothing behind me. I just thought I was in the grass. And so I was like, okay, I'm on the ground. Walked around, cleaned up my mess, and the adrenaline was pumping. Me and my husband are walking around, but long story short, I ended up having internal bleeding, and I was life flighted to San Antonio. Um, the the injuries that we sustained um, were pretty extensive. My husband literally had a hole in his knee, but we didn't break any bones, which is a miracle. Like that's a miracle.
Mhm.
And the bleeding that I had was due to my skin just kind of like separating. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, I can deal with that. It's all right. A little surgery, it's okay. I get it. But I didn't realize that the impact of, like I thought, okay, that's fine. That's good. Okay, I'm going to be home, by the weekend, da 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 da. And I even gave myself 4 weeks to recover. I was like,
4 weeks.
I told the doctor when I came back to Houston, I said, I got it 4 weeks down in my calendar and to recover. Are we good? Are we on, she had to have a come to Jesus moment because the impact was what was the trauma. I didn't realize the trauma that I had gone through. And so my body was still in trauma mode, even 2 months after. I was bruising, I couldn't walk. But a month after the accident, month into towards the end of April, I was thinking, okay, I couldn't walk. I could hardly walk. I couldn't move. I couldn't sleep. It was just crazy. But I was happy and I was grateful because I was like, thank God, and I give God all the glory. He was there with me that day.
Mhm.
Somebody was there with me that day
Mhm.
because I didn't have any broken bones.
Mhm.
I had surgery, but it wasn't real major. I didn't bruise any organs. I didn't puncture a lung. I didn't my face was, and that's really the moneymaker is what I was thinking about. I'm like, God, you
So
know, if I didn't have my face, you know, but thank God I had a good helmet, otherwise it would have been really bad. And I was thinking, man, I'm okay. But then towards 3 weeks after, I started realizing all my goals that I had set for myself, and I was challenged, and I was, um, you know, um, it was, I was just sitting around.
it's okay.
Anyway,
Yeah, I get it. It felt insurmountable, I'm sure.
right.
Yeah,
Like I thought,
absolutely.
oh my gosh, I make goals and I'm trying to make this goal and this happens. So I thought, okay, fine. Well, it's 2 months to the deadline.
Mm.
All right, I guess I'll just try again next year. And then Mary Kay sent me an email. I literally like a week later. And they said, they didn't know about my accident. They just sent out an email and said, hey, just want to remind you that you're on target for the ring, the diamond ring that you're going to get at the end in July. And we need your ring size and we need you to choose your ring. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
I thought, okay, I'm not out of it. I can do, I was like, okay. But I had people surrounding me that believed in me.
Mhm.
And, immediately I had a friend of mine, Sarah, and she was just came over. We worked the numbers. She's like, can we do this? I said, I think so. I don't know how, but we'll do it. And I had a girl that comes over once a week to help, with stuff. And so she became my driver.
You couldn't even drive. You couldn't walk. You couldn't drive.
Drive. I couldn't, I mean, it was crazy. So I couldn't drive and we did it. I 14,000 retail in sales in 2 months. And I couldn't drive. I couldn't even dress myself. Like I had a cane. I refused to use the walker unless I was in the house. But I was like, I'm not giving up. If I can get there, I can sell this product. And I did. And a week before the deadline, we finished. I don't know how. I prayed a lot. I prayed every day, but you have to, like I said, my entire life prepared me for that time. And for now, because I've had to get really, really creative and doing my business because I can't, before the accident, I was a runner. I was actually training for a half marathon in May. And I was a runner. I was up at 4 a.m. I would work out. I would do my business and I would do stuff outside. And I mean, I was everywhere. And I struggle. I still struggle even this week was a struggle because if I overdo things, my body tells me and then I have to listen to my body. So I know now that things, they're just things.
Mhm.
What really matters is you, your health, your family. And and I forgive, I don't forgive myself. I tell myself it's good things are still going to come.
No.
If you didn't make it this time, did you do your best? Yes. Did you call every? Yes. Are you ready for the next week? Yes. Okay, you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's just, lessons that I've learned this year that I've as I was telling you just now, that I'm like, all of this came together like this year. And it's like a master class of everything that I've gone through in the 29 years of being an
It is.
entrepreneur.
And everything that you've talked about today has been resiliency after resiliency after resiliency, and where you're picking yourself up and you're just taking one step at a time, one step at a time. And I think what's really special about your story, Sylvia, is that you surrounded yourself with people who are going to support you. Your family supports you. All of the ladies on your team supports you. Your clients support you. The people in your network
I
support
mean,
you.
I had
So
people
important.
that order on my website that I've never even met, and they were ordering phenomenal amounts of product, and I'm just like, I don't even know these women, but they saw my videos and they were watching my videos, and I had people that I thought were my competitors, and they were calling me to see how close I was, and it's just amazing when you I always tell people God's not going to help you till you make a decision. And when you make that decision, you need to rely on him to help you get through it because he already knows what's going to happen. And that's
Absolutely.
what happened because I was like a little kid. I'd just wake up and I would get dressed and I would, hobble into my office and, you know,
to get the help that you needed. So the beginning of this story is you got to walk across the stage.
Mhm.
You got your ring,
Oh,
which
I
is
forgot to wear it. I was going to wear it.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for you and congratulations. So Sylvia, if people want to connect with you, they want to learn more, they want to maybe schedule a skincare class with you, how do they get in touch with you?
You can go to my website is marykay.com forward or backslash my initials Sylvia McNiel, and McNiel is McNiel, or you can find me on Instagram at McNiel Sylvia, and I have videos and stuff there. But you can contact me either of those ways is the best. Yeah.
And well, I'll put all of that in the show notes. And by the way, guys, if you can't find her, come find me and I will be happy to connect you with my
I
beautiful
appreciate
friend, Sylvia
Oh,
McNiel. Thank you for coming on today. I appreciate your vulnerability. I think, as I've been telling you over the last couple of weeks, I think this story needs to be heard because there's so many of us women out there who may feel like we should just give up because it's hard. And you have proven over and over again that it's just about putting one foot in front of the other and having a really great support system. So thank you for sharing your story with me today.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me, Trisha. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. That's all the time we have for today's show. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Houston Business Radio. Until then, stay tuned, stay inspired, and keep thriving in the Houston business community.